It's race day, which means it's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. It's round 2 of 7 for 2025. Mission King of the Baggers on deck here during a MotoAmerica Superbikes at Atlanta weekend in Braselton, Georgia. We're at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, getting ready to get after it with these big thunderous motorcycles. Welcome everyone to Georgia. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, yesterday was a very interesting day on the racetrack, especially with the weather, but we had a brand new winner in Mission King of the Baggers.
Yeah, we last saw Loris Baz win in New Jersey last year on a superbike. He gets hired by Factory Indian to be part of the Factory Indian wrecking crew, and he did just that yesterday. It was Kyle Wyman early with Troy Herfoss making a couple early bids and a couple small mistakes from the number one. He would find himself on the podium in third, but it was this guy, Loris Baz, on the 76, gets through on his teammates, and on the last lap, he got himself into a position to go up underneath Kyle Wyman going into turn 10. He would go ahead and lead them across the line to get his first win in Mission King of the Baggers.
So for Loris Baz on the Indian Bagger, great job for him, and his team was happy. That wrecking crew loves it. But for Baz, he was here a year, went to World Superbike on a BMW for a couple of years, comes back on a Ducati, then he gets his first win. Now he's on a Bagger, gets another one. So his second win in the last 4 MotoAmerica races. Is Baz on a roll? I don't know, but I can tell you this. This racetrack here, Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, JP, one of the best in the country.
It's one of the fan favorites and rider favorites. A lot of elevations. You can see a fast turn 1, heads up to a big steep hill, through that small chicane 3, 4, the very famous S's. Turn 7 is the one that you got to get out of good, Greg, so you can get down that back straightaway. A lot of passing down into turn 10. And if you get out of turn 12 with a lead, there's a good chance you're going to win the race because of the short run to the checkered flag.
All right, so for this guy, Kyle Wyman, he's the current championship points leader. He's looking to extend that lead today with a dub.
Watching the grid form back after that warm-up lap for Mission King of the Baggers. Troy Herfoss right there in the middle.
It's been a long time since these guys have been on the track. You think about the warm-up was not super early this morning, but about mid-morning. So they've all been sitting around all day, and now it's going to be time to go racing.
In the case of James Rispoli that you see on the screen right now, for James, remember he was out in Super Hooligans earlier and looked like he was going to be able to fight for a potential podium result, and then had a problem there at the end. So he's had all of this time now to just think about it and try and get his head back into the game and ready for this challenge.
And he has podium speed. He's just had a really tough weekend with mechanicals. He hasn't actually finished a race yet, and hasn't been James's fault. So hopefully this weekend, this last race here, he's able to get a really good finish.
Kyle Wyman leaving the field first for this warm-up lap. Has a nice clean racetrack in front of him with the changing conditions. Oh, there's a problem. Is that Posh?
Yeah, looks like Brandon Posh.
Pulling off to the side. If you weren't with us yesterday or this morning, Brandon Posh making the call to come out and qualify this bike yesterday. He was not here on Friday. Cameron Peterson was aboard the motorcycle, but Posh was in the area. He had his leathers with him, and he decided to go ahead and hop on and see what King of the Baggers is all about.
And he was quick this morning in the warm-up. He was only, a little bit over a second behind the leader, so he was showing some really good pace.
See Corey West there, or Jake Lewis, sorry, getting into the tail end of the field.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Multiple race classes live on Top Sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long.
All right, we're back here at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. JP, let's take a look at the track map.
Real quickly, Greg, down up into turn 1. They're going to head up a big steep hill all the way down through the S's. You're going to see a lot of drafting on these big bikes down that back straightaway. You get 3 or 4 wide. They'll be doing 175 mile an hour by the time they get to turn 9. And then they're going to be going down into turn 12. We're going to have a look now at our starting grid. for race number 2. Wyman, Herfoss, Baz, O'Hara, Smith, and Rispoli on row 2. And we're going to go back a little bit further. Onsor, Gillum, Lewis, Landers, West, and Brandon Posh, who was up to speed this morning with Max Flinders on the back of the grid.
All right, so 8 laps scheduled for this one. Revs are up, and we're getting ready to get after it here in Mission King of the Baggers. And oh no, Kyle Wyman off the line. Didn't look like he had the thing in gear.
He did not have it in gear, Greg. I watched his foot. As everybody took off, I watched Kyle Wyman put his bike into gear. Man, that's such a bummer.
Oh no! Up and out of the saddle in contact. So a high side up to turn number 1. Rocco Landers gets collected in that.
Man, Kyle's going to get lucky here because we've got bikes laying in the middle of the track in turn number 1. It's going to be hard to pick those bikes up too on the side of a hill. So we'll see what happens. That actually helped Kyle quite a bit. Yeah, we're going to have a red flag here. So just got to worry about the 2 riders. Right? Good to see Rocco up, and it looks at Jake Lewis. I can't tell who that actually is, but it looked like it could be Jake Lewis. So,
all right,
yeah,
so red flag out.
Yep.
Red flag out. That means race stoppage. These riders are going to work their way slowly back towards pit lane, pit in. And so we're going to have to get the whole incident in turn 1 sorted out. As you can see, motorcycles scattered around the racetrack.
Do not like seeing this.
No. Let's take a look at the replay of the start, JP. Couple things going on.
Watch Kyle right on the front row. He's not in gear. So there it goes. So, you know, right off the bat, he's on his back foot. He almost gets caught up in this. As you see, Jake Lewis, I believe. I still can't tell. But he's going to collect Rocco Landers. And Rocco, or maybe that's Kyle Ornsorg. We'll have a look and see. We haven't heard yet, but you see Max Flinders goes through. It looks like an Indian to me. I think it's an Indian, Greg.
Yeah, so that might have been the 78 of Ornsorg.
I haven't seen. We're just waiting to see here. So, I hate speculating, but yeah, it's definitely Kyle Ornsorg because it's got an Indian thing on it. We know that Jake Lewis is obviously on a Harley. So, I see Corey West coming in, and I see Jake coming in too. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, so Ornsorg is on the Tab Performance Racing Indian Challenger.
Yeah.
So it was Ornsorg who high-sided out of Minnesota, and then unfortunately Rocco Landers got collected up in that one. No fault of his own. Is Ornsorg just gonna
happy to see him up and okay?
Both of them.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. That's a lot of beef that's ripping around the racetrack in a high side.
Yeah, and Kyle's been riding really well this weekend, and it's a shame to see that happen. And it's a tricky place going up out of turn 1 like that, and poor Rocco had nowhere to go, and then Kyle almost got caught up in that mess as well. So
I'm not sure Jake Lewis actually started the race.
Yeah,
Jay. In that replay of the start, I was looking at one of the motorcycles ripping down pit lane.
You're 100% right, I think, yeah, because I saw him going into turn 6 with his arms up on the warm-up lap like something had gone wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jake maybe never made the start.
Yeah, and our timing and scoring shows basically that you have 3 riders that didn't make it back to the pits, Ornsorg and Rocco Landers, who we know were involved in that, and Jake Lewis we don't really see. So
this is going to be a cleanup here. It's a bit of a mess, and you know that getting that bike picked up on the side of the hill, that you're going to probably need a few guys over there to get that to happen. So that is the Harley Davidson, I believe, of Rocco Landers. There's Jake.
Yeah. There is Jake. So he's coming around. All right, we'll be back to MotoAmerica after this.
Staying here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. The cleanup now coming through turn 1 for Mission King of the Baggers. Jake Lewis, we just saw come around and head towards pit lane. Brandon Posh also did not take the start of that race coming down pit lane before going back to the grid. But luckily, Roger, as we were watching this unfold, we were also able to see both Rocco Landers and Kyle Ornsorg walk off on their own.
Yeah, that was a scary crash. It was so good to see both of those get up and be able to walk off there. I know it's unfortunate to miss the race, but luckily they're up and okay. And for Brandon Posh, this could be an opportunity for him maybe to get back in this race. Jake Lewis also, he on the warm-up lap, I seen him pull off around turn 6, and now I see he made it back to pit lane, so he might be able to get back in this race as well.
Original grid positions will be given once we get back and this red flag is lifted. We'll restart everything for Kyle Wyman It's a second shot.
It's a huge break for Kyle there, and that was scary off the start. You know, luckily it wasn't too big of a grid there, and for Kyle catches a break, a red flag, and then also not getting caught up in that wreck too. That was really close for Kyle, and he's gonna have another chance, and I think he'll do a good job this time, and I think whatever he did, he'll correct it.
All right, riders down on pit lane. You can see some helmets coming off, starting to talk to their teams and figure out what they can improve on, as this cleanup will take a little bit of time. You can see the fluids that were down there on the racetrack, making sure everything gets cleaned up and safe before riders go back out.
Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2 under red flag conditions at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. And Hannah is down on pit lane getting her hustle on, and I believe she's with Jake Lewis.
Jake Lewis did not make the start of that race. Red flag has come out. Jake, tell us what was going on with the motorcycle that made you pull off.
Same thing as yesterday in the race. Yesterday I had a good race going in the rain. I was up in 5th and thought I could fight for the podium, but just wide open, the bike just shuts off. It's honestly pretty damn scary, and the same thing happened this morning. Wide open, the bike shut off, and then on the warm-up lap, luckily it was a warm-up lap, it did it again today, and just bike problems. It's frustrating and not a good way to end a good weekend, but I'm not going to hang my head too high or too low, because I had such a good weekend winning both the hooligan races and had good rides in Supersport, but unfortunately this bagger's been a little bit of a headache this weekend for us, so go back and regroup the boys in Long Beach before Road America.
All right, Jake, well, happy to hear that you are safe and okay. I did talk to race officials. They said that because of the red flag, a full lap was not completed. If Jake was able to restart this race, he would be able to start from his original grid position, but it sounds like he is done for the day, guys.
That's a scary proposition. I mean, if you're going to get up there and twist the grip and it's not working. But for Jake Lewis, what a busy, busy, busy weekend. 3 classes in one weekend. And, man, the guy can ride a motorcycle and pretty much anything out there that he needs to ride. And he has had a good weekend. So at least we got the scoop on him. So, Jay, you're looking at this oil spill right now. What are you thinking?
Well, it's a big cleanup, isn't it? I mean, we saw from the aerial view that the guys out there working right now hard for us. And, you know, when you look at where that bike ended up, Greg, the riders are going to be inside of that. The only time that you might see some riders out over that area are going to be maybe at the start when they're scattered. So when they go out for their warm-up lap, or you know, when they come back around, they do a siding lap, they're going to go out quick start. They're going to have a look at that going up, and I think most riders are going to feel pretty safe. That would have been from Onsorg's bike, and then or it might have been actually from Rocco's bike, because I know it slid up the track quite a ways. But you can see our workers out there doing a great job cleaning that up, and this stuff works really, really well. Like, we saw a pretty big oil dry, a lot of oil dry into turn 1 yesterday, and the very next session out, I mean, it was a big long line of oil dry. All the riders were going through it, and it didn't pose too much of a problem. This one here will be a little bit to right. You know, a lot of the riders are going to be to the right of that coming up that hill.
Yeah, if you actually look at the top of your screen, you can see pit out, and you can see lines from turn 1 where riders are going kind of in the inside. So normally that would be like yellow paint.
They cut across that yellow paint that you can see, Greg, where these other corner workers are here. The way the riders go up the hill, they kind of cut back over to the right to kind of get the bike ready for turn 2 at the top of the hill. So where that bike slid and did its and where they're cleaning up, it should be okay. Let's get back down to Hannah.
Not the best start to the race for Kyle Wyman, but evasive actions, and you steered clear of that wreck. Tell us about it.
Yeah, evasive action on Kyle Onsorg to miss me, which was great because I didn't have the biking gear. I think I went for it, but I didn't really test it because he was just so worried about frying a clutch. But man, I went through a roller coaster of emotions there, thinking, okay, how far up can I get from the back? And then the incident in front of me was just like, I felt like Ricky Bobby out there trying to miss a wreck. So we got another chance. I hope those guys are okay, but yeah, let's put it in gear this time.
Thanks, Kyle. Guys.
Well,
any comments, Jason?
Yeah, there's going to be something on a dry erase board and a Harley, you know, on the transporter, I'm sure, with some funny memes
Maybe
later
a
on
bumper
about
sticker.
Kyle doing that. Yeah,
bumper sticker.
I know I'm going to razz him when I play golf with him. I know I'm going to razz him for that.
Yeah, if he misses a putt, you'll be like, what happens? It's not in gear. But he does get a second go at it, and because we didn't do a full lap, it looks like we're going to be cutting this race to 7 laps. But we are closer to getting things rolling here in Mission King of the Baggers as we continue our coverage.
Cleanup continuing here under red flag conditions for Mission King of the Baggers. You can see this look down pit lane right now with the bikes that were out on the racetrack making their way back down to get back to the pit lane. That means they're off of the racetrack. Everything is still getting cleaned up. There was some fluid on the track, but just a couple more minutes and pit lane will open. You can see helmets back on for riders, and they'll be able to get back out there and have another siding lap, Roger.
Yeah, and some of those riders in the front, they're going to have a little bit of a preview of that first lap because they were in front of that crash. So they're going to kind of expect where riders are going to be coming in that first turn and up through that first little sections. We see Kyle Onsorg's bike coming back in there, beat up, but luckily for him, he was up and okay.
We saw the oil dry that was being put down on top of the fluids out there to soak it up. But all of that dust, you can see him still blowing the powder off of the racetrack. What effect will that have?
They shouldn't be really that far offline, besides maybe on the start. Somebody might get hung out up there, but you see where that little yellow line is right there, all the rubber marks. That's where people are crossing the setup for turn 2. So if you are over there in that oil dry, then you're pretty far offline.
All right, we now know from race control, of course, it will be original grid positions as we have covered, but this race distance has now been shortened to 7 laps from the originally planned 8. Does that change anything?
No, there's just less time if you get a bad start, and tires won't come into play there with the less of a lap. Just got to get going early on.
A good look from the drone at all of the various rubber lines around this racetrack. About time to send bikes out.
All right, so we're getting closer to the start of Mission King of the Baggers Race 2 after a red flag start to the race. And Hannah's still down there getting after it under the beautiful temperatures and, well, partially sunny skies here in Jordan.
It's still beautiful down here. I checked in with James Rispoli really quickly. Bit of an up and down weekend for him. He's got great pace and he really wants to be able to stretch this Harley Davidson's legs. I asked him how the start was for him today and he said much, much better. He was ready to get after it. He said him and Baz were banging bars out there, as you can imagine, in his more colorful and excited James Rispoli language, but he's ready to get back to it.
Well, if there's one thing we know about Jimmy the Risp, is that Hawk Spoli loves racing, man.
Oh, yeah, he does. And he has had a rough weekend, man. Poor guy. He's not finished the 3 races that he's been in so far. So let's hope he can get a good result here. See bikes getting ready to go. Warmers are coming off. Guys are going to go out and they're going to do a siding lap, Greg, right from pit lane.
And then we're going to do quick start procedure, Jay. And what is that?
Quick start procedure. So there'll be a member from each team down in the grid spot that these riders are assigned to. And then what they'll end up doing is holding them for just a minute, make sure everybody's in the right spots and go back out. And you'll see a lot of riders right now. As they exit pit lane, they'll be looking over to the left to kind of see where this cleanup was. And all of our safety crew and our crews from MotoAmerica did a really nice job. As you can see, the stuff there on the left, these guys, James has a quick look and sees where it is. And it's going to give them some confidence knowing that it's not right in a spot where a lot of them are going to be riding. And yeah, so they're out for the siding lap and they'll come back from here. Boy, what a break for Kyle Wyman, though. I mean, that's, I know we had to talk to him and we can make fun of it and laugh about it, but Onsor did a good job of missing Kyle. Starting line incidents are really, really scary. And you know, for him to miss him and then unfortunately to fall over in turn 1 and collect Rocco, which is a shame. It's just good to know both those guys were up and seemingly okay.
Yeah, as we get ready for our race number 2 at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, just a reminder for all those people, especially Harley-Davidson fans, this crew, this race will be at our next event. All right, when we come back, race start is on the horizon. Hang tight.
Riders now out on the racetrack taking a look at the cleanup that was affected after the incident that we had in turn 1. You said it, Roger, that most of the powder would be off of the racing line, so shouldn't really have much of an impact. For the riders, though, it's just a chance to kind of reset.
And also that off this start here, that's going to give them an even better shot to look over and see where that oil dry is. And MotoAmerica does such a good job of getting the track clean and the oil dry off. These riders are not even going to notice it.
Fewer bikes out there on the grid now. We had the problems for Brandon Posh as well as Jake Lewis that we heard from, and then of course Rocco Landers, Kyle Ornsorg not able to get out there for race number 2 here this weekend, so that leaves 4 grid openings. Curious if Max Flinders is out there. We saw him have a problem at the start of that last one as well.
He's out there. Can see the yellow bike.
There he is. All right, warm-up lap for what will now be a 7-lap final race here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. There's a good look at the number 88 of Max Flinders. He was frustrated at the start of the race. Kyle Wyman also, we heard from him, but we did see the body language from Max Flinders, so he's looks a lot calmer, looks a lot happier at this point. So he just looks for a strong result and continuing to go through the paces of switching over to a new manufacturer this season, and just continuing to grow with that team.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Multiple race classes live on top sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long.
All right, welcome back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Jay, here's a replay of the beginning of the race that got red flagged.
A lot of excitement for like 22 seconds.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, Kyle saw a lot of things that happened there, and that was Rocco's bike that went up. And that's why the red flag. Craig, we got 4 non-starters now. You see, look at those 2 guys. Ornsorg and Rocco checking on each other. Both those guys are okay. We're also going to be without Jake Lewis. And we're going to be without Brandon Posh as well.
All right, so the starting grid is Wyman, Herfoss, Baz, O'Hara, Smith, and Rispoli. On row number 3, we got Ornsorg, who's not going to be here, Gillum, Lewis, Landers, West, and Posh, also not going to be here, and then Max Flinders. So there's our 5 rows with 4 non-starters. So it looks like Ornsorg, Lewis, Posh, not going to be here. All right, so 7 laps now, and away we go. Kyle Wyman put it in gear, and he gets away, and he might be the one leading us into turn number 1. The 33 Harley-Davidson got a good launch. And he's going to bend it into turn 1, and he's good. Now this is where the riders are going to go up the hill. And Jay, right there to their left is where that oil dry was, and it doesn't look like it's a problem for them at all.
I think it's going to be good. And you have defending champ Troy Herfoss. Had a great chat with him today. He's right on the back of Kyle Wyman. I believe that's Bradley Smith in 3rd, and then we're going to have Loris Baz 4th, and O'Hara with Rispoli behind him. So right now, Kyle Wyman in the dry yesterday had really good pace. When we did our Mission Foods Challenge race, the 2-lap sprint, he didn't get the greatest of start. That was a race 1, and the $5,000 check went to Troy Herfoss. But that said, as Troy gets extremely loose out of turn 6, Kyle was some 9/10 quicker on the 2nd lap of that race yesterday, so we know that the 33 has some pace.
That was only a 2-lap affair, so now you got to abuse these Dunlop tires another 5 laps. So Harley-Davidson and Dynojet Factory Racing, Harley-Davidson Road Glide rider Kyle Wyman out front, being chased by S&S Indian Motorcycles rider, the number 1 plate Troy Herfoss on the Indian Challenger. There goes Baz.
Goes up underneath Bradley Smith. Good to see Bradley Smith. We haven't talked about him much, but he is constant work in progress on this bike. Obviously a tremendous tester of motorcycles. Been with a number of different teams in MotoGP. His last real job was working for the BMW factory team for the last 3 years, working hard on getting that super bike of theirs going. So first lap through, Bradley Smith's going to be running 4th. He's got Baz just there, has moved up into that 3rd spot, our winner from yesterday. So Loris wants to taste that champagne again up from the top step.
Yeah, and this morning in warm-up, Baz was third fastest. So a lot of times, you make a step. So, Hannah, you have something on Bradley Smith, the 38?
For Bradley Smith, we talked about this track. It's a new one for him, of course, as they all are on this calendar. He said turns 2, 3, 4.
Sorry, Hannah. It looks like the #1 plate, Troy Herfoss, has got smoke billowing out of his motorcycle, and he's going to have to pull off the racetrack.
Man. I believe that was a new motor as well. I'm not sure, but I believe that was a new motor. So, yeah, that thing is now they're going to have to look and make sure that there's nothing on the track. Looks like everybody's kind of going slow. Yeah, it's going to be red flag. That's a good job by our safety and our race control. There's really no reason in taking a chance, especially where Troy was on the track. So I know it's a bummer to see another red flag, but for the safety of everybody else, I think that's the smart thing to do, and it's such a shame for Troy Herfoss.
Yeah, and Jay, you mentioned a new motor, so we're not really sure what happened there. Sometimes when crews change new motors, something can pop off. We don't know, like maybe an oil line or something of that nature. So we're not going to speculate on what happened, but unfortunately for the S&S Indian Motorsports team, motorcycle team, your #1 plate, your defending champion, is sitting on the sidelines for this one. And now the cleanup is going to have to happen, or at least the inspection, the track inspection is going to have to happen. There's been 3 races so far in Mission King of the Baggers. In defense, Troy Herfoss is 26 points behind Kyle Wyman. And so at the beginning of this race, it looked like Herfoss might have an opportunity, but that red flag, first one slowed us down, and now we're under red flag condition #2. So Herfoss having a chat with our volunteer corner worker staff, which we of course tip the cap to here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for coming on out and helping out all these racers all weekend long. And so for Herfoss, he's having a good perspective right now as to what his situation is. We're going to step away, and we're going to come back and find out what the track conditions like. Maybe have an answer for you when this race is going to start again.
You can see a live look from our drone coverage down at pit lane. The remaining Mission Super Hooligan, remaining Super King, the Baggers bikes are back to their team areas right now, and riders with the helmets on, a little unknown right now of what the track cleanup will look like. We haven't had a good look at it quite yet. Safety workers will get out there, and in case of Hayden Gillum, still sitting on the bike even. Let's go ahead and take the opportunity to go down to pit lane and check in with Joe.
Thanks, Jamie. Yes, I just had a word with S&S Indian Cycle. Engine failure for Troy. That's all they know so far. Obviously, they'll take a look at it, but that does look like it's the end of the road for Troy on that race. I had a little chat with Terry Vance earlier just about Rocco Landers. So when Kyle Onsong went over, he clipped Rocco, as you saw, I'm sure, in the video. He actually hurt his foot, though, Rocco did. So Rocco's hurt his toe, hurt his foot. He should be okay, but he's off out the back getting some treatment on that left foot. Hayden Gillum, of course, here, though, for Revzilla, Motor, Vance and Hines. Looks like this field is dwindling down, but the remaining riders, of course, will be going for it. And let's see if Hayden can pull something out with Terry Vance right behind him.
Looking out live at the racetrack right now as the MotoAmerica safety team has made their way out to the track, and the corner workers have already been out there taking a look at it. So they'll communicate. They'll get down to the ground level. We see that a lot just to see if there's any fluid down there, what they need to bring out in order to clean up. But one thing we know is they're going to do everything that they can to make sure it's safe.
One thing I noticed, too, the first red flag, Kyle mentioned about the clutch. And now this is going to be a third start for these baggers on these clutches.
The oil dry is coming out on the racetrack at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta as track inspection is underway after something started leaking off of Troy Herfoss's factory S&S Indian motorcycle. And Jay, you and I have talked about it. I mean, you got to think back to 2020. First time we had an exhibition race at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. And then all of a sudden we did 3 races after that, and then it built and built and built to a full-blown series that it is now. And we have seen reliability of these machines absolutely just phenomenal over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, we can't curse it now because it's already happened. So you're exactly right. We have seen the reliability of these bikes become a lot better. So this is kind of an unusual thing. Hannah, what you got?
Duty this weekend for Corey West. A lot of track time, a lot of racing, but he is still all smiles. Corey, you were making some gains on Hayden Gillum there. What's working for you on the bike?
Yeah, the Saddleman guys, they really put a good package under me. Harley's helping out a lot, making the bagger a lot better. But, yeah, I was just joking. You know, the Indians out here, they're fogging for mosquitoes, and if things keep going this way, I'll be on the podium before you know it.
I like that sunny disposition. Is there anything that you would do differently on this restart?
No, I keep getting awesome starts, and I find myself right on the tail of some guys I usually can't keep up with. So, yeah, if we can just get a clean race, I'll put my head down and see how long I can hang on.
How does the bike suit this track? Are there certain areas where you feel like it's really strong, or are there areas where you're looking for a little bit more?
I feel good through the tight stuff, but I do have some power this time. So, yeah, we'll just try to get good drives onto that back straightaway and see if I can hang in the draft and be brave on the brakes and see where it takes me.
I'm sure people are probably surprised to hear you say that you feel good through some of the tighter turns being on such a big motorcycle. And something Brandon Posh mentioned to me riding a bagger for the first time this weekend was he can't believe how well it turns. I mean, can you expand on that? Can you shed any light for people at home who are probably so surprised to see these bikes do what you guys are doing on them?
Yeah, it's just the development over the years of what these things have become. They're true racers now. They're not street bikes. So, yeah, the way the geometry is and all the race parts, these bikes really do handle well. And it's a hustle up at the top through that chicane. It's so tight, especially when you're back where I am. You can't even see. You're just like, okay, he's turning left, I'm turning left. You can't see those curbs, so it's just kind of riding blind. But, yeah, the bikes handle good. We've got a good set. Motor's running good. Just see where it takes us.
Best of luck out there. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you so much.
And look, for Corey West, at the ripe young age of 40 years old, is giving you some good advice. This is a guy, if you don't know the Super Hooligans class here in MotoAmerica competition, go look at all the races from last season that are available on YouTube, as that is your #1 plate in Hooligans. And, man, there were some outstanding races that happened. And Corey West has been in this game for a long time and still as fast as you like it.
Yeah, and he's always smiling. If you get a chance to go down and you meet these guys, Corey is one of those guys, always has a smile on his face, and he's enjoying his life, new dad and all that, and he's had a tremendous start to the season. He had a little bit of bad luck today in his other race, but defending champion, and we get a look here at Troy Herfoss on our TV. It's such a shame. And
yeah, but I mean, it's his personality, right? Like, he understands what he's a veteran as well. He's been around the block many, many times. He's national champ. He's 3-time Superbike national champ in Australia, and he's got a smile on his face because he appreciates all the fans that is sticking around to check out our Mission King of the Baggers. Another break. When we come back, it's closer and closer to the race start.
With the riders down on pit lane and cleanup still underway here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. You can see the riders are all down there debriefing with their team. Not a whole lot has been learned so far. Conditions have been pretty steady all day. It's been just a beautiful day, a beautiful afternoon for racing. Of course, the morning warm-up earlier. Let's go ahead and get down to Joe and see if we can hear from some of these riders.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here with James Rispoli. You've been trying to get going all weekend, haven't you? And you finally got going there on that last one. But tell me what happened out there for you in that last final start.
Yeah, man, this weekend has been so tough for us. We've had clutch issues the whole time, and you know, these starts are not helping, right? So hopefully the boys, we made some changes. I feel so good on the Harley Davidson today. You know, we're seeing some attrition out there already. I really want to get this one across the line. I feel awesome on the motorcycle. I made a couple good moves in the first 2 starts, and I feel really good. I think a podium's on the card. So I'm super stoked, and I'm ready to get back out there.
Fantastic. 3rd time's the charm. Let's see what happens.
Going to be great to see what happens indeed. We're going to get another shot at this one. Original grid positions again, Roger?
And for a lot of these riders, they they can make some changes if there's some things they didn't like with the track or the bike, the way it was feeling. They're able to work on the bikes during the red flag. They can't change tires, but you can also make some adjustments. They don't have a lot of laps, so they don't really know the right feeling, but you could, if you wanted to, make a few adjustments right now.
An overhead look at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta paddock area. You can see Indian motorcycles placed as close to Harley-Davidson as you want because, you know, rivalries and things like that. As the crack crew here is working on getting this racetrack all cleaned up and ready for racing, as that is our plan. The race restart looks like it's going to be about 6 laps. But we want to talk a little bit about the future here. Let's take a look at the schedule. Now, Mission King of the Baggers schedule for us, Road Atlanta, we're at right now. And then we go to Road America. Of course, we love that place. And then for us, for Mission King of the Baggers, we go to Laguna Seca, July 11th through the 13th. And then the cool bit is, JP, is that we go August 15th, then we go to September, and then the end of September, we get to finish off the year with 3 Mission King of the Baggers race weekends back to back to back. So it's going to be exciting, and really it spreads it out for our fans. Now, we don't go to Brainerd, Minnesota anymore, which is really the home of Indian motorcycles, but next weekend when we go to Road America, it is awesome because obviously it's an hour and 15 minutes down the street from Harley-Davidson's headquarters.
Yeah, and I think that you know, it's just such a great rivalry there between the 2 manufacturers that are contesting this class, and Road America is such a fun place, and we get such a big crowd up there, so that's going to be fun. Of course, watching these guys go through the corkscrew at Laguna Seca is great. Mid-Ohio was fun last year, first time back there in years that we had gone, so yeah, the schedule's going to be fun for the rest of the season.
And, of course, here during the MotoAmerica Superbikes at Atlanta weekend in Braselton, Georgia, manufacturers have brought their demo bikes out for the crazy amount of fans we have had here. And there were quite a few people that I ran into, Jason, in the pits that are like old school, people that were here in the late 90s and the 2000s. And there were quite a few comments from people saying that the crowd here was as big as it's ever been. And it's always good to see, especially on a weekend where we had such weather yesterday, where we had the rain that came in and out, and then overnight here, tremendous thunderstorms. Jason, you're from California. And I did kind of have a giggle a little bit as I'm from the Southeast. So thunderstorms are on the daily, but every time the thunder happened, you were kind of giggling, weren't you?
I was, because we don't get this stuff, you know, like we in California. So.
And there were tornado warnings here as well.
A lot of action.
You poor thing, very
scared.
A lot
of action. No, it was great. So, but I was more worried about making sure we can get these races in today and make sure we had a good dry track, because we saw some rain come in yesterday, and I think today the fans have got a really nice day to be out there watching all the races.
Let's check in with Handa, who has a fan favorite and a podium finisher in Mission King of the Baggers, the number 88.
Well, the Harley-Davidson and Indian rivalry, as you can tell probably from most of these interviews and the racing out on track, is bigger than ever. But I think there's only one rider out there, if I'm not mistaken, who can tell us that they've ridden both, they've raced both. Max, can you shed any light on maybe some of the differences between the 2 motorcycles, having raced the Indian last year and the Harley-Davidson this year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got quite comfortable in the Indian. I find the seating position on the Indian more similar to like a street bike kind of thing. So I got off the R1 and got onto that, and it was a little bit easier. But this one, the seating position you're a lot closer to the front. You feel like you're more in the front wheel, but I have to admit, these things pull out of the corner a lot harder than the Indian did. But, I mean, honestly, they're both great bikes. That's why they're so competitive out here. So I'm honored to ride both of them, but hopefully I can keep doing well with this Harley, and it kicks butt.
I mean, you put the Indian on the podium. The Harley-Davidson's a completely new endeavor for you this season. How has it been trying to get up to speed and really just figure out what you like and what you're asking from this motorcycle?
Yeah, it's a little difficult. We had, on the Indian, we had a rider before me who did a year of testing on it, and then I had 2 years on it. So we had that bike pretty dialed, and we're just kind of starting from scratch here. I mean, Benson Hines have helped us out a lot. but the setup and everything, we're not quite there. We haven't been able to do much testing because we've just been putting the bike together so quickly. But the guys are working their butts off. This team, I mean, we're the privateer team. They put in everything they have. So we're going to keep working, keep chasing these guys, hopefully learn from them, and then hopefully I can put this one on the box too.
How would you say this track suits your riding style? Do you like a more stop-and-go type of track? Well, I guess it depends on the motorcycle, but for these big bikes, is it easier through a flowier track for you, or do you prefer a track like Atlanta?
Honestly, these things suit more of a flowing track. It's weird to say, but they ride more like a 600 to me than a 1000. The 1000s is like you point and shoot. With these, you want to keep that speed and kind of roll, because the gears on these, every corner, the gear shift is so important, because if you're in the wrong gear, you're blowing the corner, and if you're in too high of a gear, the engine braking of these will come to you like a complete stop. So yeah, definitely more flow for sure.
It looks like we're about to get going here, but thanks for the time, Max, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Max. Thanks, Hannah, on that one. And, Jay, there's a couple battles going on. Obviously, from factory team to factory team, the development does not stop as we look at on top of the hill, as we call it, where there's a bunch of stuff going on up there. But you got more Mission King of the Baggers coming at you, as it looks like we're going to get ready to get this race underway real soon.
A look at the fan zone here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. There's the merchandising tent and some of the display tents as well, with some show bikes, some activities for kids that have been up since Friday. Lots of family action up there. There was some great food truck vendors, some local restaurants, and some of the wider known stops as well. So a lot on the property for everyone to enjoy. See Tyler O'Hara. It's been great to see him getting back up to speed here this weekend. Been just a little off for the last season, about the mid part. Let's go ahead and get down to Joe.
Thank you. Sit with Hayden Gillum. Choosing to stay on your bike during this stop-start encounter. Why choosing to stay on, and how do you feel about all the stopping and starting?
I've been off and on bikes all day, so I just figured it'd be easier just to stay on it. These things are comfy. They're baggers, so that's what they're meant to do. You're supposed to sit on them and be comfortable, so that's what I'm doing.
All right, well, I can hear engines revving, and it looks like they're getting out there, about to go back out for another warm-up lap. Best of luck.
Pit lane not open yet. Just less than a minute to go before riders can exit pit lane. But, Roger, when the track cleanup has happened and we know that there's oil dry that's down, being one of the first ones to exit pit lane and get a good look at it and not have any of the wind blow it up at you from another bike, that's an advantage, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of these riders are going to go through there pretty slow. They're going to take a really good look at this because there's going to be a little oil dry on the tires going into the corner. There's really going to be no way to avoid it, and they will be looking for a path that maybe has a little less oil dry, but they're going to slow down and they're going to take their time and have a good look at this.
Looking at the timing and scoring screen that has been refreshed from race control. Original grid positions here once we go back to racing. 6 laps remaining in this one.
All right, welcome back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia. Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2. It's been a little bit of a ruckus to get this race underway. Of course, we had our first start where Kyle Wyman didn't put his bike in gear and luckily got missed by the rest of the field coming through after his front row start. And then, unfortunately, Kyle Ohnsorg had a high side. He collected Rocco Landers. Jake Lewis's motorcycle has had some issues, and Brandon Posh out as well. And then we got the race restarted, and Troy Herfoss had an issue coming into turn 6, Jay? Yeah, coming into turn number 6.
Turn 6, yeah.
That's at the back side of the racetrack. Oiled up the racetrack, and so now he is on a crash truck back in the field. So we have Kyle Wyman, Loris Baz, Tyler O'Hara, Bradley Smith, Rispoli, Hayden Gillum, Corey West, and Max Flinders in this field. The race is now going to be a 6-lap affair. Keep in mind that in all the in and out that's happened in this race so far, there's no tire changes. They can do whatever they want to the motorcycle to fuel them up, to fix them up, but the tires have to stay on the motorcycle. So these tires already have a few laps on them and definitely have a couple of starts on them as well. Quick start procedure in this 6-lap race.
We're thinning out here.
Yeah.
Definitely thinning out. And yeah, I think that when you start to look at it again, these guys are going to have to go out, look at the track again, G-Dub. And I think the one good thing about all this, if there is it's not raining. So that's a good thing, because that cleanup would have been an absolute disaster had it been raining at all. So
all right, so here we get going on our sighting lap. It's still nice and dry conditions. Here's a look at what's happened so far in race number 2.
It's been far too entertaining, but not the kind we want. Kyle didn't have his bike in gear. Onsor crashes. Rocco hits him. Kyle's sitting there thinking he's just dodging bullets. We get everybody back safely, get another restart. Race kind of gets going. Wyman to the front with Herfoss in second. Our 2 championship main contenders that we had last year are right there, but look at this. A lot of smoke. You see Loris Baz with his arm up. Another red flag. Herfoss jumps off the bike and parks it and would get a ride back.
Side
the back
saddle.
of a crash truck, yep. So it gets that back.
All right, so let's look at the starting grid again. There are holes in this grid, but we're going to remind you. It's Wyman, Herfoss, Baz, O'Hara, Smith, and Rispoli. And those 2 front rows are looking pretty good. No
Herfoss
Onsor.
won't be there, but
no
no
Herfoss
Onsor.
won't, yeah.
No Lewis. No Rocco Landers and no Brandon Posh. So Corey West will be back there on row 4 on his own. And then we have Max Linders.
So there we go. All right, 6 laps scheduled now for this one in this decimated field here in Mission King of the Baggers. But still, Kyle Wyman, Loris Baz, Tyler O'Hara, Bradley Smith, Rispoli, Hayden Gillum, former national champ. There's so many fast motorcycles in this field. And it's only the heartbreak to have the #1 plate not restarting this race. So once again, reds are going up when these red lights go on, and when they're off, we're at it again. Here we go, and it looked like
Loris got a good jump. Loris got a really good jump initially. Let's see if he's able to do anything. He's not. Kyle Wyman is going to lead their way through with Baz, and it looks like Rispoli now is up the inside of Bradley Smith.
Tyler O'Hara was asleep at the wheel, Jay. Didn't get a good launch.
And I saw him getting coffee this morning, so I know he had that. So he is back in what, 5th or 6th, with Hayden Gillum just behind him. And as they head down the hill for the first time, you're gonna see Wyman and Baz with Rispoli right there. That's your top 3 at the moment.
Boy, this would be something else if Rispoli can hold on to this one and come out of this weekend with a podium, but still so much asphalt to cover in this race. Down into turn 6 they go. This is where the incident was with the #1 plate. And so through the middle of 6, on the brakes into 7, now onto the back straightaway. So important to get a good drive out of here as we look at Corey West, who we got to hear from earlier on his Saddleman Racing Development Team motorcycle. So here comes Kyle Wyman, really the class of the field out of turn number 7. The question is, will Draft and Pass help as the 38 of Bradley Smith going around his teammate looking for some real estate? That battle for 3rd, it's going to be won by Rispoli on the brakes into 10 for the moment.
Yeah, keep in mind, Bradley Smith and James Rispoli have been good friends for years, and Bradley ends up getting that other factory Harley seat. Nobody really saw that coming, but they've known each other since James has been racing over in Europe, over in BSB and so on. So for the 43, he's battling a guy that's been a buddy of his while they were over in Europe together. Never really raced against each other, obviously. And so he's doing a good job. Let's hear what Hannah, you got something on Bradley?
I do. He definitely wants another look at that podium after success in Daytona. We talked about this track being new to him. He said turns 2, 3, and 4 are really the secret sauce to this track. And he's just kind of down on laps compared to everyone else who has been here. It's hard to say where the limit is there, but you can't be too shy. His crew chief, Claudio Corti, actually won race 1 and got a 3rd in race 2 here in 2016. So he's really knowledgeable about the track layout and also just has really great mechanical input as well. They've made minimal changes all weekend to the motorcycle. They're not afraid to experiment though, but with such a heavy bike, it's definitely more sensitive to changes, so they need to be more smart.
All right, thanks, Hannah. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Superbike, Baggers, and Supersport Series are now available on top sportbooks and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/PlayMA to see what's available in your location. Sign up, claim exclusive bonuses, and make your picks now. Down into turn 10.
Bradley made that draft pass and opened the door for O'Hara too, so Rispoli gets a little bit beat up between turns 7 and 10. There was also something hanging from James's bike that looked like it fell off going down that back straightaway. Hayden Gillam's going to be the next guy that's going to want to take a shot at the 43. So going back to Hannah's report, I talked to Bradley this morning and he was telling me how much he was losing in the first sector, and he just simply told me, he says, Jace, I'm not sure how much of the curbs to cut. Every time I feel like I'm cutting the curbs, I'm not cutting it enough. And that's going to be right up here at the top of this hill as you see O'Hara draws up to the back of Bradley Smith. This is the area he is talking about, the flickability of these bikes and being able to get through and run over these curbings in a way that isn't going to upset the chassis so much. So that's where Bradley was trying to do the majority of his work this morning on making sure he can get the bike a little bit better.
Right now, all eyes are on Loris Baz. Now, Kyle Wyman went 29.1. That's the benchmark lap time. Baz went 29.4. However, in sector 1 on this lap, Baz was faster by a couple tenths of a second. So, and we have a rider down. So a big crash coming through turn number 7.
Oh, man.
Is that Tyler O'Hara? Lost the front.
Oh, he's gonna
coming
be
through 7.
He's going to be really, really angry. You can tell Tyler's not happy. He was feeling really confident about getting in there today and getting a chance to get his Indian on the podium. So that's going to be a disappointing thing for him. But to your point, you were bringing it up a minute ago. Baz has done a good job. I'm glad you saw this. I just didn't catch it. That's the second time this week, unfortunately, for Tyler in the same corner where he's just trail braked on the way in a little bit and lost that front.
And you can see the frustration because he is full of confidence.
Yeah, but like I was saying, you were talking about Baz is really keeping him honest, Greg. And that first split, like you said, was quick. He just went the fastest lap of his race, 29.3. So, man, Baz has really stepped up with, unfortunately, seeing Troy Herfoss not there. Baz has stepped up to the plate and wants to be the guy that's going to challenge Kyle Wyman right now on that 33. And, you know, for Baz, he's such a tall guy. You got to think that this bike works really well for him.
Yeah, definitely. He's not afraid to have the bike move underneath him as well. And again, if you know super bikes and you know how much torque they make, these make twice as much as a super bike with no electronic aids. So a lot of this management has got to come from the right wrist. But back to third we go. Bradley Smith, the number 38 in his first season in Mission King of the Baggers on that Harley Davidson and Dynojet Factory Racing Harley Davidson ahead of his teammate. And there's the 69 of Hayden Gillam. The number 1 plate he held during the season last year. And for him, and we talked about it with Max Flinders on the Revzilla Motul Vance & Hines Harley Davidson. That is an effort that Terry Vance and his team put together that's all on their own. So they don't get really a lot of guidance or parts from the factory team. And part of the reason why the Revzilla Motul Vance & Hines Harley Davidson team is here is to develop parts that customers can buy to modify their bikes. And obviously we heard that Max Flinders and his team are utilizing the expertise of the Vance & Hines Harley Davidson team.
Yeah, it's great. I saw Terry down in the pits yesterday talking about things, and it's great because he's got Rocco also on a stock 1000 bike this year as well. So right now, the biggest thing is just, will Hayden be able to get close enough to draft these guys down the back straightaway? And I know it doesn't seem like much, but it was about 2 mile an hour down, only a mile an hour down to Bradley, but he just couldn't quite get in the draft close enough to Rispoli. So he might need both of these factory Harley Davidsons to poke a big hole in the wind in order for him to get closer. But I'm telling you right now, this is great for Baz that he's getting this close, because when we go to the next round, he's going to have a lot more confidence on this bike with a good dry race. He won the rain race yesterday, and he's showing right now he's as quick as Kyle Wyman. And the drafting and the passing that will be going on at MotoAmerica on that 4 mile layout up there in a month's time will be good. So now Rispoli is in the draft to Bradley Smith. So let's see if he can return the favor to Bradley when they get down to turn 10. He's going to pull out probably to the left of Bradley and maybe try to outbrake him. Not quite close enough this time as we go back to Baz in second.
His team looking on as Baz trying to find some grip. accelerating up the hill under the bridge and back down to the final corner of this racetrack. And as Kyle Wyman comes across the stripe, it's going to be white flag, 1 lap to go. And Wyman, 29.3, and probably off of that wheel spin, Baz loses half a second to Wyman on that lap. And Bradley Smith still holding on to a comfortable 3rd place as Rispoli falling into the clutches again of Hayden Gillum in that accordion seesaw battle.
You know, Kyle up front right now, he knows how good Troy Herfoss has been. And now he's going to have another major player in Loris Baz, very experienced rider, obviously, as Loris, that's going to be battling him. And, you know, don't you worry about the Indian Wrecking Crew. They'll be back hard at Road America. But this battle is going to go raging all the way down to the line. Look how hard Hayden Gillum is riding, getting that bike out of turn 5. He's trying to do something with Rispoli here in order to try to maybe draft Bradley Smith. And but this time James is a little bit closer to Bradley as they get ready for turn 7. And now it's that big draft and pass that Rispoli is going to be looking for down the back straightaway. He almost got such a good drive. He pulled up alongside of him there, didn't he?
Yeah, there's the lead. 1-2, Wyman and Baz. Harley-Davidson and Indian. This is the battle for 3rd. It's all Harley-Davidson affair here as Rispoli down into turn 10 as passing opportunities are going away. But Bradley Smith, being at Road Atlanta for the first time, has seen enough racing already to know to close that door down. And look at Gillum trying to get a run around Rispoli, but there's nowhere to go. Onto the front straightaway we go, and here comes the 33 to take the checkered flag and another victory. Kyle Wyman in with his 21st win in Mission King of the Baggers. Baz in 2nd, Bradley Smith holding off Rispoli and Gillum for 3rd place. Rounding out your podium, Corey West comes across the line in 6th place. And Max Flinders coming down the hill out of our picture. But look at Kyle Wyman, that 29.1 on that first time lap. That is the fastest lap of the race. And Wyman did that 29.1, broke the rest of the field, and then just managed that 1.5, 1.7 gap all the way to the end. Getting congratulated by his teammate Rispoli. And a well-deserved cool-off lap after 3 starts in this Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2 here at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. So Jay, for Kyle Wyman, a lot of confidence now rolling into the home race at Road America.
Well, yeah, and it could have gone really bad today. He had a couple instances that could have really hurt his championship hopes. And he's going to come out of this looking okay, as you see Hayden Gillum pulled over to jump on the back to pick up Tyler O'Hara.
Yeah, and for Kyle Wyman, he massively extends his points lead. We'll talk to him and find out more about that when we come back.
Well-deserved celebration there for Kyle Wyman, able to take home a race victory here from Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. You can see the applause, and it was a hard-fought battle for him. And that 29.1, the fastest lap of the race, it was also the fastest lap that Kyle's been able to put together over the course of this weekend, even through qualifying. Morning warm-up was pretty quick this morning for these King of the Baggers riders. Loris Baz also doing his best time here in the 2nd race, as did Corey West and Max Flinders.
And for Kyle, what a great rebound from the not putting the bike in the gear and then barely missing that crash, be able to go back and reset and kind of start all over. And Kyle really wants his title this year. And, with Troy having a mistake, Kyle really capitalized on the points again. And just a great ride by Kyle. He's just so good at getting out early and putting those laps in and able to control it from there.
Other thing we saw during this shortened race here for Mission King of the Baggers was the fact that Loris Baz was the only rider that was out there flying the Indian flag. It was just in a sea of Harleys.
They just had a good day. Unfortunately, the Loris did kind of mess up the podium sweep there. I think a big race for Loris there, able to be that close to Kyle until the last lap. Being within a second, I think that can really give him some confidence in the dry moving forward.
And now Bradley Smith able to get up onto the podium as well. 3 bikes for the two factory teams here this season. Bradley Smith's been a welcome addition here into the MotoAmerica paddock, all the experience that he has around the world. And you think he's excited?
He should be.
This is a championship that he's certainly going to throw everything at, and a race win is the right way to kick it off.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Multiple race classes live on top sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long.
So after that 6-lap affair, James Rispoli in there to congratulate his teammate Kyle Wyman after a dominant victory where Kyle really, I think step one was he put it in gear. That's great. Right, JP? And then really it's that start. It's that first lap where Kyle's really looking at what other riders do, like a Cameron Beaubier or whatever, saying, look, I can just break them, then I can scoot away, and then I can manage the race. So it's that 1.797 victory over Baz, who put on quite a show. And then Bradley Smith just ahead of Rispoli and Gillum. That was a great battle. You can all see 7.4, 7.5, 7.6. Corey West in with 6th place, and Max Flinders in 7th. So let's get down to Hannah, who has our winner.
Great points all for Kyle Wyman this weekend, following up yesterday's 2nd place with a victory today. And things got off to kind of a crazy start, and multiple starts at that. Kyle Wyman, take us through your experience overall and how you were able to make it to the top step of the podium today.
Well, you know, second chances, you got to capitalize on them. And man, I've been the giver of gifts for a long time in this class, so it's nice to kind of get one coming back to me for once. But I knew we had pace. Loris was riding great. He was going to be right there. Troy was right there. Just so proud of this team. They've been working so hard to improve this motorcycle. You know, my teammates, James and Bradley, they've been awesome. They put in a lot of work to get us here. And this one definitely feels good. It feels like we're back on the right track. We're building from, the start of the year, and I feel really good right now. So.
Looking ahead to MotoAmerica, Harley-Davidson's home race. You got a couple weeks off until then. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I can't wait to go home. I can't wait to go see all the employees of Harley-Davidson that worked so hard back in Milwaukee. The Davidson family, of course. Ride free, baby. What's up, Willie? And it's awesome. I see hundreds of Harleys heading out on the track right now for a fan ride, and we expect thousands at MotoAmerica.
Thanks, Kyle. Congrats, guys.
And I think really Kyle hit on it the most. We look at it here and we get to see the rider in the machine getting after other riders and machines. But at the end of the day, this is a massive team effort. And he's not only talking about the people back at Harley-Davidson that are helping develop the parts, but all the testers and the team as well. Let's get back down to Hannah.
Certainly showing he has got pace to hang at the front. And I'm sure this is not the last time we'll have this conversation. Loris Baz, 2nd place finish today for you. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it's a tough races when you have to start like that and you have to refocus all the time and there is crash and it's not the best of day for us, but I'm glad I put the Indian on the podium. I feel like we were pretty close to be able to go with Kyle, but there was a couple of corners where I was losing a little bit, especially where Troy broke the engine. And I feel like, there was still some oil there and I almost crashed hard in the first lap. So then I was a bit too cautious there, but I'm happy. 1 and 2 this weekend after the bad start we had in Daytona. I'm really happy and we are making a lot of progress. We definitely know where we need to improve to gain some pace, but I'm proud of the job that my guys at Indian and SNS did this weekend because we were really far away in FP1 and we really made a big step in Q1 and first win, double podium. It's really good for us, so thanks boys.
And your 3rd podium of the season. What was your expectation kind of heading into this? And are you doing better than you thought you would on this bagger, being such a different motorcycle to anything you've ever raced?
Well, I just wanted to have fun, and I knew I was on the pace and I was fast because we did some tests and I was pretty close to Troy, so that was a good sign. But then racing those bikes is different, it takes a lot of space on track, and when you make a move, you have to take a bit more care when you are a bit aggressive, because it takes a lot of space and it's easy to touch the guy in front of you. So it was definitely a bad first start for me, and then I got better in the second one and a bit more aggressive in the third one. I was just taking too much care into the first corner. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm where I wanted to be, fighting in front. But yeah, we definitely need to make some more steps for the next race and win some more races.
Great weekend for Loris Baz, guys.
Yeah, and make no mistake, Jason, I guarantee you, even though I haven't talked to anybody on the team about the test schedule, that in these next 3.5 weeks before the next race, they're going to be doing something. They're going to be trying some new parts. And I know, talking to the team, that there are some new parts on the horizon. They're going to do some pretty incredible things for this Indian Challenger motorcycle. So for Loris Baz, it's been an interesting weekend, but man, as he continues to get faster and faster on this motorcycle, he's definitely a championship contender. Let's get back down to Hannah.
Rounding out your Mission King of the Baggers podium, Bradley Smith, his second podium appearance of the season. Bradley, quite the battle with teammate James Rispoli out there. Tell us how it went.
Yeah, if there's one person that you don't want to battle against, is your one of your best buddies. So he definitely had my number today. I was making so many mistakes, but he played it smart on the last lap, so I'm thankful for that. Otherwise, I don't know where I would have landed. Anyone else, I'm sure he would have shoved out the inside. So this place has kicked my butt all weekend. Really struggled through sector 1, and yeah, to come away with a third, sixth yesterday, it's damage limitation. Hopefully go to somewhere that I enjoy a little bit more, or suits a little bit more my style.
During the red flag situations, I saw you sitting on the wall, helmet on, just really focused, locked in. What's going on in your mind in those moments?
Just make a good start. I think that was my savior today. I didn't have pace, so it was like, get a good start, try and be in the mix and do the best I could. So I think I did the best I could. I take away a trophy, and like I said, just move on to tracks that maybe click a little bit easier. But great weekend here. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to my team, and Harley Davidson back on top.
Congrats, Bradley, guys.
Yeah, Jay, I think you would agree. If you look at tracks that are like easier to learn, the next track we go to, MotoAmerica, is easier to learn than this place.
Easier to learn. Obviously, it's very, very long, but it's an easier track. Laguna, he's probably been to before, obviously, in MotoGP and things. Let's look at some highlights, Greg. Race 2 highlights. There was a lot of lowlights, unfortunately. Kyle Wyman got us started off kind of crazy by not having his bike in gear. And then, oh, sir, what a big high side this was. Just happy to see him and Rocco walk away and be okay after that big incident. Second restart, looked like we were going to have a really good race here at the front. We saw the two riders that we expect to be battling the whole time up there, and Herfoss then all of a sudden has a motor go, and we have another big cleanup. Loris Baz, you can see there, got a great start, and got right up to the back of Kyle Wyman very, very early, as you see Bradley Smith pull out of the draft of the 43. Wasn't able to do it that lap, but he was going to do it a lap later. You see that thing flying off of James's bike? I saw something hanging on back there, and at this point, Tyler O'Hara is right in there with a shot. Bradley goes past James, Tyler O'Hara goes past, but the next lap, Tyler gets in just a little fast into 7s, hits that big Indian in on the brakes, loses the front. Unfortunately, Tyler's going to walk away from this weekend a little bit disappointed. This guy was kept honest. 33 of Kyle Wyman. He's feeling pretty good as he broadslides that bike out of the last corner on the final lap to get the 33 a win. And now we got a new player in the mix that can show that he's got pace, and that is Loris Baz.
And here's a look at those point standings. It's Kyle Wyman with 95 and Baz 34 back. Jay, right now, Kyle Wyman's got a mulligan because it's 25 for a win. Bradley Smith, a Pridmore number back, 43. Herfoss on that DNF slips his way into 4th place. Wow, that was certainly an entertaining weekend here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Mother Nature played a part. We had great racing across the board. We can't wait to do it again in Harley-Davidson's backyard. May 30th and June 1st, Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Well, that'll do it for us from Braselton, Georgia. We certainly hope you enjoyed the coverage. We enjoyed bringing it to you. For Hannah and Jason and the rest of our crew, I'm Greg. We'll see you in Wisconsin.